with another naturally obsessed look into basketball. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the video. And as I always like to preface by saying, I am not a basketball expert. I'm just a fan who's naturally obsessed. And in this video, I kind of want to take a deep dive into further elaborate my thought process as to why I continue to say Kevin Durant is going to be a Phoenix Sun this upcoming season, and why I continue to say anyone who says Kevin Durant does not hold leverage in this situation is crazy. In the comments in some of my most recent videos, a lot of people have tried to argue my point against that, and I understand why. It's because, like I just opened the video with, I haven't really gone into a deep dive to elaborate my thought process and what I'm basing that off of. But it's also come to my attention. I read your guys' comments and I see some of you all are bringing up really good points. Some of the points that some of you all are making are just flat out ridiculous. I have no idea how the hell your mind works that way. But some of your arguments as to why the Nets hold all the leverage is fair. Very fair. And like I say, I'm a fair guy. I don't shut down any opposing opinion. Any difference of opinion is welcome on this channel. I always keep an open mind when I read your guys' comments. And no opinion is right or wrong. It's our opinion. Some opinions, though, are based off of different things, which tend to be more, I don't want to say genuine, but pure. You know what I mean? Like, for example, not to diminish your opinion if you think differently about situations going on with the Phoenix Suns. But for example, most of you probably base your opinions off of local media, national media, articles you read, things like that, and plus your just general knowledge of basketball. And it's fair, and I have no desire to diminish your opinion whatsoever, because your opinion isn't wrong. But what I base my opinion off of is everything that I just laid out right there, plus the fact that I have friends that work within the organization. Like I always say, if you're new to the channel and haven't heard me hear it before, I don't know any high-level executives, I don't know any decision makers, but I do have friends that work in the offices of the Phoenix Suns organization, and sometimes I'm made privy to certain information. And that's what I base a lot of my information off of. And one of the primary things I'm basing my stern, strong belief that Kevin Durant is going to be a Phoenix Sun off of. So first things first, I've mentioned in previous videos how much stock I put into Vegas odds. What's the number one purpose of Vegas odds? What's the number one purpose of Vegas betting? They want to take our money. Is Vegas right all the time? Absolutely not. You'd be crazy to say so. But are Vegas odds baseless? Do they just make them up? Absolutely not. You're insane if you think that's the case. But they have a lot of inside information. And the fact that NBA has relationships now with a lot of these sports books, they're main sponsors of the NBA, they're working together. Because the more money they make, the more money the NBA makes. So they have to work together on these odds. So the fact that throughout the entirety of this situation, for the last week since Kevin Durant requested a trade, and he did say, you know, my preference is Phoenix or Miami. Not only has it been my understanding for the last 2 months since I started making content on this, but now it's becoming more widespread around the national media that Kevin Durant wants Phoenix for a wide variety of reasons. Devin Booker, Monty Williams, James Jones, Chris Paul, location. He wants Phoenix. And in a player-driven league, the player has more power than ever before. And if you don't like it, guys, I'm sorry, that's tough shit, because we're not going backwards. Like, the player has power, and if you're a definitive top 5, many would say top 3 player in the NBA in a player-driven league, guys, you get what you want. And I keep saying, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And there's been a lot of talk about why this is taking so long. I want to get into that, but I kind of want to elaborate on why I say Kevin Durant holds a significant amount of leverage here. But I also want to talk about why the Nets do hold some leverage. I'm not trying to diminish them at all and say that the Nets have zero leverage. It's all in Kevin Durant's hands, because that's just not true. A lot of the main argument is, well, Kevin Durant has 4 years left on his deal. They don't have to trade him. When you say that, you're not wrong. The Nets don't have to trade Kevin Durant, and they don't have to just accept any trade. But here's where the problem comes. Kevin Durant says he doesn't want to be there anymore. And the Nets say, well, that's tough shit. Like, you're under contract. We're paying you. You're going to play here. So we all know, based off of the history of the NBA, what having a disgruntled superstar does. I'm going to give you a little example here. If you're not a Phoenix Suns fan, you're probably not familiar with this story. If you're a Phoenix Suns fan, it's very, very memorable for you, and some of the chaos that ensued afterwards. So Goran Dragic was on the team, and Goran Dragic wanted a trade. Goran Dragic has never been a superstar or even a star in this league. So some of you, before I even go into details why, are going to be rolling your eyes like, oh my God, that's not the same thing. Just hear me out. Goran Dragic requested a trade, and Phoenix Suns management said, no, that's not going to happen. Goran Dragic was very disgruntled, continued to play, and became a significant distraction. Finally, after a long, bitter argument back and forth between Goran Dragic and the management of the Phoenix Suns, he was traded. And the consequence of initially telling Goran Dragic, no, we're not going to trade you, was a big part. I'm not trying to discredit how terrible the management was and the coaching and all that. That played a big part too. But one of the big reasons as to why the Phoenix Suns couldn't even get meetings with marquee free agents is because the Phoenix Suns caught that reputation of not abiding by what their superstars wanted. What their stars wanted, I should say, because Goran Dragic was never a superstar, and he wasn't even an NBA star, but he was a franchise star. He was probably at that point in time the best player on the team. So their stars, they didn't accommodate. It's a big deal around the league, and what the point I'm trying to make with that is, if that happened for a guy like Goran Dragic, what the hell do you think is going to happen long-term to the reputation of the Brooklyn Nets and Sean Marks if they don't accommodate a Kevin Durant? So that's one. And some of you are going to think about that and just be like, oh, you can't think of that if you're a general manager. You have to do what's best for the team, blah, 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 blah. Yes, you're right. But if you're thinking long-term, because that's what we're doing, right? Like, yeah, we want to win right now. But at the end of the day, we want to build something long-lasting and think about the future. Don't you think if you do this, maybe this year, you might have a championship contender, maybe? But what's it going to do long-term when Kevin Durant makes it known next offseason, throughout the year? I don't want to be here. I want to be in Phoenix. I want to be in Miami. I'll even give you Toronto Raptors fans. I want to be in Toronto. He's never said that, but I know a lot of you are getting mad at me when I exclude Toronto. So what do you think that's going to do? And Kevin Durant this year has not been recruiting free agents. Do you really think he's going to start? Man, don't come to Brooklyn, man. They're doing me wrong. They're doing me this. They're doing me that. It plays a factor. And then sending Kevin Durant somewhere where he doesn't want to go. Sure, the Nets might get a package that could make them relevant this year. Might have some small pieces that they think they can build around in the future. But I'm telling you guys, when it comes to that free agent period and they're trying to make that big splash, because let's be honest, do you guys really see Brooklyn drafting and developing talent to build a championship team around? Teams do it. But when was the last time that the Nets actually drafted and developed a team that was capable of? And I'm gonna give them a little bit of a shout here. That team, pre-Kyrie, pre-KD, that bubble team, a lot of really good talent, but they threw it away. They threw it. I don't even want to say threw it away. I think they deserve a little bit more than that. They gave it away for an attempt to make a big splash. And it didn't work out. Brooklyn has always made these kinds of bad decisions. Do you really think it's going to stop now? I don't. I look at the Brooklyn Nets one notch above the New York Knicks as far as franchise functionality. And the reason I put them a notch above is at least they were able to get KD and Kyrie. You know what I mean? The Knicks were never even in it. So if you want to keep at least that sort of attraction to be a notch above New York and potentially start rising in how you're viewed across the league, you can't do a superstar that's on your roster wrong like that. You just can't. And the leverage that the Nets do hold, like I said, they determine how long this thing gets played out. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, everything we've heard of, oh, we might potentially keep both Kyrie and KD. Look at these pieces we're adding. If we decide to keep them, I think it's nothing but a ploy, guys. I really don't think that it's a genuine statement. I think this is a negotiation tactic to try to get more. And why I don't think it's going to work, the reason why I make instant reaction videos, as soon as I catch wind of breaking news, I jump on and I talk about my initial thoughts about it, is for two primary reasons. One, I love the genuineness of emotion, because like I tell you guys all the time, I'm a type of guy that thinks outside the box, tries to think of things in a way that maybe you guys won't. And if I can find a way to put into words a different point of view, a different point of thinking, maybe it might make you guys start going, that's a good point. But the main reason is it's fun to laugh at myself when I see how overly emotional I get at instant breaking news. And I bring that up because I made an initial reaction video to Rudy Gobert getting traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And if you can find it in my previous videos, I encourage you to watch it and kind of laugh at me, because I rewatched it this morning. What a bad take by me. What a bad take by me. I said that I thought it was a screaming deal for the Timberwolves, that they got him for a great deal. And my initial reaction to that was just looking at the players that they received back. I think if they would have gotten Rudy Gobert for those players and maybe a pick or two, screaming deal. But that was such an overpay of draft capital that I'm looking at it now that the dust is settled and I can look at it from a non-emotional perspective. I'm like, good God, what an overpay. So please, I encourage you guys to laugh at me. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And who knows, they haven't even started training camp yet, much less played a game together. This could be a screaming deal, but we're looking at it right now from a face value, which is all we can do because we can't see the results until the next season begins. But the general consensus around the NBA, from what all NBA insiders are reporting and from a conversation I had a couple days ago, is the Nets are trying to be like, oh, if Rudy Gobert goes for that much, then Kevin Durant should go for X amount. All NBA executives are saying, no, we don't like that trade. It was an overpay. And a lot of NBA executives are pissed off at the Minnesota Timberwolves front office for executing such a trade. So the overhaul of capital that the Nets were initially anticipating isn't there. From what I understand, there's a standing offer from the Phoenix Suns. And some of the teams that really do want Kevin Durant are thinking, okay, the Phoenix Suns offer is here. Maybe all we have to do is meet them right here. And that remains to be seen. I honestly, again, I don't think it happens. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just a matter of when the Nets are ready to pull the trigger on a deal with the Phoenix Suns, because that's where Kevin Durant wants to go, and the repercussions of trading Kevin Durant to a destination where he doesn't want to go can be very bad long-term for the Brooklyn Nets. But I just think this is a matter of the waiting game. I don't think, because another good point some of you have made in the comments, and I never mentioned it because I just assumed, it's a given. But given the comments, I think it deserves some acknowledgement right now. Kevin Durant's going to be 34 this upcoming year. Kevin Durant does have an expiration date. When that is, I don't know. I honestly I don't think he's going to be, say the Phoenix Suns get him, I don't think he's going to be as good in the fourth year of his contract as he's going to be this year and next year. But I still think you're looking at a LeBron scenario where LeBron's 38 years old and he's still viewed definitively as a top 7 player in the league. I don't think anyone's going to have him in the top 5 right now, even though had he been healthy, he would have won the scoring title at this age. It's remarkable. It's incredible. But I think we've seen age start catching up to LeBron James to a point where we have to start putting certain players ahead of him. But there's still the universal respect for LeBron James. LeBron James is without a doubt, in my opinion, a top 7 player in the NBA. But Kevin Durant's game, it ages very gracefully. There's the injury concern. I'll give you that. But his game it ages gracefully, which is why he was able to come back from an Achilles injury so well, is because his game does not rely on pure athleticism. It relies on skill, basketball technique, IQ, things like that, to a point where I think as he gets older, he's going to age very well as far as basketball goes. And there's a concern that I want to end with this. I should have talked about it when I was talking about the leverage that Kevin Durant holds, but I just want to make sure I include this. There's a fear around the league, from what I understand, which is another reason why the exorbitant amount of assets being offered for Kevin Durant just isn't there. Say a team trades for Kevin Durant. He makes it known, I don't want to be there. And then next year, ask for a trade. It's a huge risk that a lot of NBA teams just are not willing to take. And rightfully so, understandably so. But that's where I think currently we stand with Kevin Durant. I just wanted to elaborate a little more on that. Hopefully, if you're someone who's been back and forth with me on why it's not true, hopefully you don't have to agree with me. I still, again, welcome difference of opinion. But hopefully this at least gets you to understand where my thought process is and what I'm basing my opinions off of. But let me know what you guys are thinking. If you'd like to add on to anything I just talked about, if you want to share a difference of opinion, or if you agree with me, why? I appreciate you guys so much. Like, I really do. I say it after every video, like the fact that we're a growing channel so young and we're growing this fast. I mean, we've doubled in subscribers over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I love and appreciate you guys so much. But in the meantime, guys, I appreciate you. I said that already, but I really do. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, guys.